Hi guys, it's your boy Shaban here, back with another War Within video. In today's video we're going over 5 tips that you can improve as an Arcane Mage in Mythic Plus gameplay, although it's not really especially just for Arcane Mage. Many of the tips you can apply to other classes as well, because this is not a guide video on how to play the class itself, it's more a guide on how to improve as a Mythic Plus player in general, but with focus of course on mage talents and mage abilities. If you like the video, please make sure to leave a subscribe and a like. Would really help out my channel to grow. And yeah, let's jump into the first tip. Tip number 1, practice your rotation. This is a key element for every class in World of Warcraft in general, and especially if you run hierarchy dungeons, you want to learn your class as deep as possible. A good way to start this is by learning the talents that you are playing with. Not only the normal talents, also the hero tree of the specific spec. In this case, it is Spellslinger Arcane Mage. It is crucial to understand what the Spellslinger hero tree is actually doing and how we are doing damage in general. Maybe you have found yourself on a guide page for your class and you're reading through it, and half of the stuff you don't even understand because you just don't know what the specific talents or specific abilities are doing. So I recommend really going a deep dive into the talent tree and learn the spec. Of course, you can use guide videos as well. There are plenty of that on YouTube. I've just published one of them myself. You can check that out on my YouTube page if you want. So once you understood what your spec is actually doing, it's time to do some practice. I cannot count how many hours I spent in front of just the training puppies and training my rotation overall, testing out new stuff, but this is a crucial part when you're learning a new spec or you want to improve on a specific spec. This training is especially important when you play a class which has a priority list for executing your most potential damage possible instead of just pressing a few buttons in the correct order all the time. You want to train your muscle memory that you don't have to really think what to press next. In the moment you see it on your specific indicators, whether it's a weak aura, whether it's your taskbar, whether it's your good instinct or something else, you know what to press next, and that is your goal. That is what you want to master first on the training puppets. After that, you're gonna run some Mythic Plus keys. Maybe you have cleared +3 or +4, maybe you've cleared 10s, maybe you're clearing +15. Doesn't really matter. You want to practice in dungeons as well, because training on the puppets is one side of the rotation, but in dungeons, you have to quickly react to interrupts, you have to react to crucial moments for your teams, you have to be able to react to specific events that are not really under your control, since this is not a solo game, this is a team game. So go into the dungeon that you're struggling with and try really to execute your perfect rotation. And this leads me also to tip number 2, cooldown management. The top priority you have in Mythic Plus dungeons, if you want to execute your rotation correctly, is cooldown management. I'm talking about 2 sections here. I talk about offensive cooldown management and also defensive cooldown management. The offensive cooldown management is all about on how to use your offensive cooldowns and also when you use your offensive cooldowns. If you take Spellslinger Arcane Mage for example, in every pool there is a priority target. We are a spec that does a lot of priority and final damage. This means for this spec it is crucial to identify the right target at the start when we use our major cooldowns. Otherwise you probably end up burning all your major cooldowns on one single side target mob, which is really not worth it. Next part is to know when to use your cooldowns. You don't want to blow away your cooldowns when a pack is already about to die. So let's say a pack has about 30% health left overall and you're just burning your major cooldown window, and you will end up just executing half your rotation and not having cooldowns for the next pull. That is something that you really want to avoid in any dungeon run. You probably ended up at any point at any dungeon for yourself where you just thought, oh no, why did I do that now? Because now I have to wait 1 full minute to have my cooldowns back again. And this does also apply to our major defensive cooldowns. So especially for higher keys, it is crucial to manage your defensive cooldowns correctly. One way, for example, is to track the cooldowns of your other party members. Good example for here would be Mass Barrier, for example. So when I see the cooldowns of my teammates and I notice my healer doesn't have anything left like barrier or totems or something else, I know that it's probably time for the next major incoming damage that I use my Mass Barrier correctly. This also applies for a major cooldown Ice Cold, for example. You want to be really careful when and how to use it. You don't want to end up overlaying it with other major cooldowns that your party members are providing. However, when it comes to our small defensive cooldowns like All the Time or Blink, these are much more flexible to use. When you're running a lot of dungeons, you probably end up at a time where you just know when to press all the time. For example, if you have a really hard dot ticking on you and you know there's an incoming damage that you cannot avoid, you can simply just press all the time to completely neglect the damage, or at least the most amount of it. Tip number 3, log your dungeon runs. So maybe at this point you're asking, okay, I'm executing it, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong. This is where you want to start logging all of your dungeon runs to review them. I personally use Warcraft logs, but you can use any software that you like. So logging is a crucial part of a way to understand of what you're doing wrong or what you're doing right. You're able to compare yourself with other players. In the logs you can analyze on how your overall performance was, but also how your detailed performance was. When you go, for example, in Warcraft logs into the detailed section, you see how many times you have casted your major cooldowns, for example, or how many times you casted your defensive cooldowns. Comparing yourself with other players is one of the best ways to improve yourself if you don't know what you're doing wrong or what you're doing right. I personally ended up a lot on this page, spent many hours comparing myself to better mage players, figuring out what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right on specific timestamps in the dungeons, for example. So if you want to improve, install your personal logging software or service or whatever you would like to use and start reviewing your own runs. This will help you a lot to improve as an overall Mythic Plus player. Tip number 4, record your own runs. This is a tip that goes hand in hand with logging your runs. You don't need to necessarily do that, but you can if you want. For me personally, it helped me a lot to understand my gameplay and my mistakes, because I can visually see what I was doing wrong. When I see in the logs I did 50% the amount of damage that another mage player does with the same buttons pressed and the same rotation, maybe I can check in the video what I did wrong. And for example, I ended up not really hitting every target that I wanted because of forced positioning. So reviewing visually what you did in this specific situation can really help you out a lot to improve your overall gameplay. There are plenty of free recording softwares out there. Just Google it or watch a YouTube guide on how to record yourself while gameplaying and you are good to go. And the last tip, which is tip number 5 that I have for you guys, is don't stop, enjoy playing the game. What I mean by that is not being too hard on yourself if you're doing mistakes or if you don't see any progress when you try to improve. Trust me, if you follow the basic tips I provided you, you will eventually end up improving a lot on yourself. And who knows, maybe I helped you to get the next rank 1 player. But anyways, seriously guys, don't forget to enjoy the game. For the majority of Warcraft players, this is still just a video game and it should make fun. Alright guys, that's the end of the video. These were my 5 tips to improve as a Mythic Plus player in World of Warcraft. If you liked this video and my content overall, please consider subscribing to the channel and leave a like. It would really help me out growing this channel, and I will continue to post a lot of other stuff that you guys might like. For now, I wish you a very happy weekend. I love you all and cheers.